The principles of design, or our rules for how to use our elements. How to make sure that the elements look good together. There are 6 principles of design. Just like there are 6 elements of design, you will need to be able to know the difference between them. We have harmony, proportion, scale, balance, rhythm, and emphasis for our principles of design. Harmony is when all the elements are in agreement. This is where we take variety and unity and we make them play nice together. We want the room unified, as in the room is tied together with common denominators. There are key things around the room that are consistent, like maybe the use of a color scheme that ties it together. And then we also want variety, where there's different shapes, colors, and objects in a room. They make it so it's not all exactly the same. Adds a little bit of interest. You need to be careful though. If the room is too united, it will be very boring and all look the same. And if there's too much variety, it will be quite chaotic. You need to use them together to make sure that the room works out well. Proportion is the way that one part of an object or a section of design that you're looking at relates to the whole of the design or the object. Please note, for proportion, you usually draw a mental line and you compare part with the rest. For example, if I was looking at this tree, my brain says I can do a mental line right here and compare the leaf part of the tree to the trunk and pot of the tree. And I'd say, hey, the leaf part is one section, and I could probably stack it in the trunk twice. So I'd have a 1:2 ratio for this tree going on. I'm only looking at this object. I can also look at the whole of a design, like this whole wall of windows right here, and go, hey, there is a line right here, and lines here. So I can go, hey, this top portion of window also could be stacked twice here, so it's also a 1:2 ratio. Or I can look from side to side and go, hey, it's cut into thirds, where each of these 2 sides is 1 and the middle would be a 2. In proportion, there's this idea called the golden mean. The golden mean is the ratio that just looks the best to the human eye. That is the 2:3 ratio right over here. Other effective ratios, but not the golden ones, would be 3:5, 5:8, and 4:7. That is proportion. One part of the object related to the rest of the object. Scale is a little bit different. Scale is the way that one object relates to another completely different object. For example, if we draw a floor plan on a piece of paper, we're comparing all these different rooms on paper to the real live room, and we draw it to scale. A better way to think of this might be your chairs at home compared to your dinner table. If the chair is the right size for the dinner table, you can sit at the chair, everything will be normal and feel fine. If you had one of those cute little preschool chairs there and you were sitting on it, you'd have a hard time reaching the top of the table well. One object related to another, usually comparing it with size and functionality. Does it work together? Think of the story of Goldilocks and the 3 little bears. How she tried each of their beds and each of their chairs and was trying to find one of those that matched scale for her, comparing her to those items and trying to find the one that works the best. Balance is our next principle of design. It is when there's equal weight on all parts of the room. There's a feeling of rest because not one side of the room weighs more, which usually means it looks like it's going to fall over. We can call this formal or informal balance, or symmetrical or asymmetrical balance. Formal balance is when you've got usually you draw an imaginary line, you can compare both sides, and it's the exact same object on either side. That is formal. Both sides are the same, symmetrical. Informal is when there are different items on each side, but it takes up the same visual weight. We're not actually going to weigh the items in the room. We can say, hey, this big square takes up about the same amount of space as these small squares, so it is balanced. One does not look overly heavy compared to the other. Asymmetrical balance. For example, is this room formal or informal? Is it symmetrical or asymmetrical? So all you do is you draw a visual line, and I can see that if I draw a line straight up and down in the middle of this room, I could fold it right in half and it would be the exact same. It's a mirror image, which means it's symmetrical or formal balance. Rhythm is our next principle of design. Rhythm is the feeling of movement in a room. Moves your eye from one point to another. This rhythm can be accomplished by using lines, shapes, colors, patterns, the multiple use of those. So if you look in this room, these curved lines that go up and down the pillars draw your eyes up and down. The lines on here bring you in a fan kind of idea. And the colors just bounce your eyes around the room. Like, oh, here's red. Oh, here's more red. Here's red. Here's some more. And so on and so forth. There are 4 different kinds of rhythm. Specifically, repetition is when one of those design tools is repeated. For example, across the ceiling here, we got 1 light, 2 light, 3, 1 light, 2 light, 3. Your eye jumps through these repetitions. Or on the wall, there's the tiles pattern, or this leaf pattern in the pillows and on the floor. When you repeat an object or an item, like I even have repeated light green here, and then back there, the color itself is repeated. Another type of rhythm is transition. Transition is how the part of the design changes and isn't the same. For example, curved lines cross an arch. Your eye goes up, up. Oh, wait, we're turning now. Oh, no, we're coming back down. And it's transitioning. Backs of chairs do the same. If you have multiple arches, you suddenly got repetition and transition. In this picture, we've got, oh, we're going up. Now we're coming across, and now we're going down. And it draws your eye up and across as it changes. Radiation is when you have a central point, like this shaft of the light that comes down, and then from that point you have lots of things that come out, usually like fan out from it. And then this one we also have repetition because we have multiple of these lights. Most plants are radiation. They've got the stem or the trunk, and the leaves or branches fan out from it, putting flowers in a vase, and the vase becomes the central point. Gradation is when we have a gradual change in colors, light to dark, or in size when we're going from small to large. For example, we have some nesting tables where we have small, medium, large of these that nest together, and your eyes go, whoa, big, small, small, and your eyes follow these objects or color. If you've heard of ombre in color for clothes or art, that is gradation. You go from a lighter color to dark. Emphasis is the focal point of a room. It focuses your attention. Like in this room, the first thing that you see is probably this cool mirror on the wall. It's the focal point of this area. And then you might look around and everything else, but you'll come back to it. In this room, it might be the tree in the center, or it could be the windows themselves focus you on the outside. It's best to only have one major focal point for a room, but then in each little area you can have a focal point. Like at this table, there's the centerpiece, which is the focal point of the table, while as the mirror is the focal point of the room. Go ahead and watch this fun little video clip that reviews elements and principles of design on the Canvas page. Please note, we only briefly looked at the elements and principles of design. There are more concepts and details for them that you will learn if you take future elements and principles of design, interior design classes in the future.